American Craftsman podcast is sponsored by Hayfla. Hayfla offers a wide range of products and solutions for the woodworking and furniture making industries, from hinges and drawer slides to connectors and dowels, sandpaper, wood glue, shop carts, and everything in between. Exclusive product lines such as Lux LED lighting and Slido door hardware ensure that every project you create is built to last. Learn more at hayfla.com. Additional sponsorship provided by Ridge Carbide. When you need the right saw blade for the job, put your trust in Ridge Carbide tools. For over 50 years, Ridge Carbide has been producing industrial saw blades designed with the exact specifications for the cutting results you expect. Before you buy, call us and we'll help you determine the right tool that meets your needs and your budget. After the sale, Ridge Carbide provides sharpening services for all your saw blades, dado sets, router bits, and jointer planer knives. Located in Kansas, Ridge Carbide Tools provides high-quality products with outstanding customer service at a fair price. What are you cutting? Enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to the show. That was perfect timing by John, sitting back down.
Making a cup of coffee. I'll have to get up in a minute when it's done brewing.
Yeah, it's that nice midday cup of joe.
It's amazing how that'll give you a second wind.
Yeah, it doesn't even give me a second wind anymore. It's just a necessity.
So you said that you're cutting down a little bit on coffee?
Yeah, so I grind my beans. I don't do it like in the morning. I do it at night beforehand, which is, it's better if you do it like right before you make the coffee. But I want the coffee ready when I wake up. So I have a 10 cup. So I guess it's like 40 ounces of water. And I was doing a cup, like one dry measuring cup full of beans. I dropped it down to 3/4 of a cup.
So that's the measurement before the beans are ground.
Right.
Okay. So once the beans are ground, is that about 3/4 of a cup?
I don't know. So like the ideal is I want to say 60 grams of coffee per cup. And that was roughly as close that was an easy way because I was like weighing them out. I'm just trying to simplify my life. You know what I mean?
I know
so
that.
A while back, I was like, let me just find like a measuring cup that, let me figure out how many beans this is and just find a cup that is close to that. And I'll just use that.
That makes sense. And you've already got it figured out. It's like you've already done the work.
Right.
Once you've got that little
methodology.
Yeah, methodology done, then you've already figured out and you can just go forward with every day. And the science is done. Are we recording? Because I don't see it on the screen. Yeah,
for some reason I couldn't. We are. Okay. I have a waveform. I couldn't get the screen mirroring to work for some reason.
Okay, I'm just double checking.
Yeah.
After last week.
Yeah, if you guys didn't tune in last week, we recorded for, there we go, for I'd
say 40 minutes.
Yeah, and then realized that we weren't recording. And then we ended up doing like an hour and 15.
Yeah. I started to repeat myself at the end because I listened to the podcast.
Uh-huh.
I was like, wait a minute, didn't I say that already in the beginning of the podcast? And luckily we like ended like a minute later.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what we had talked about, what we had, like which episode did we talk about it on? The one that was lost or this one?
It worked out pretty well. It's Walter said it was a decent podcast. So he's sort of my barometer.
Yeah, we're like, we're ranked in the 60s in Hobbies USA this week on Apple.
I gave it a little plug in my YouTube video on Sunday.
I saw that.
I wonder, does it move the needle at all? Or you can't
it's
tell
hard
yet?
to tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did talk about planting the grass seed.
Yeah.
It's been a week now. Anything?
Not that I can see, but I told you I haven't really been out there. I have to cut the grass. Probably do that today. So I'll get a closer look. But
are you watering?
Yeah, twice a day. I'd also like to let's see what happens in like the next month. Because I work with Jonathan Greene. I was just at their warehouse yesterday. Oh yeah, it's down near Fazio, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like you get off the Parkway at 98 and you take the
34, is it?
Well, I take the is it the Turnpike? Not the Turnpike. It's I-95 towards Trenton.
Okay, yeah.
And like this, you get off in like 2 miles and it's like right there.
Right.
I forget the name of the town.
Oh yeah, like Adelphia. Is it Adelphia?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So it's an easy drive, and I met with Barry, who's the owner, super nice guy. Picked up a bunch of product, and I picked up some extra product because I also do my mom's, because she's got my lawn's a big lawn, so a lot of times it doesn't translate to their customer.
Yeah,
and my mom's lawn is more of a normal sized lawn. And it always looks really good because she has irrigation on the entire yard. And I just treat it because it's so easy to take care of her property compared to mine.
Yeah.
And so I picked up some extra small bags for her property, and I've got some stuff I can use on your property.
Oh, cool.
So I'd like to use the Fall Magic seed and the winter fertilizer. And we can put that down in maybe a month. So say you get some seed coming in, you're probably not going to get it all coming because you didn't do the soil thing that I was talking about.
No, well, if I wasn't sick this weekend, I would
do it with you. So a month from now, because even if you have seed down, we can go over it with, I mean, when I say we're going over it with soil, it's like you're going over like half of an inch, quarter of an inch. But we could bang that out in like an hour. And then if you're water, you still have a couple of weeks that you can water before you have to shut off your water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, around here, man, you can go into December with your hose on. Yeah,
your hose, as long as you don't have like underground irrigation that you have to blow out or whatever.
No, I just have hose. You know, I have, what are they? Orbit.
Okay.
You know, sprinklers that are connected with hoses.
Okay. So, if we can do that, it'd be just nice to see your lawn come up. And I'd like to have that footage to use with Jonathan Greene.
Yeah.
You know, get some before pictures and things like that. I don't know if you got any before pictures of any of the work that you did.
I probably have some.
Yeah, if you do, you do.
I mean, it doesn't look any different, at least from a little ways. But, you know, even if it was sprouting up, you wouldn't be able to tell from like back a little bit, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, you should be able to get the lawn looking really nice. And then your father-in-law will be happy.
Yeah. Oh man, I went in the backyard yesterday to look, to see if anything had sprouted, and the moles are going to town back there.
Do you want to try that sonic thing? I don't think we talked about the sonic thing I think that got deleted, or we never recorded that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the dogs will probably lose their minds.
They might. That's what Keith from 2-Bit was saying.
Jamie, my father-in-law, just goes medieval with the traps. He said you got to find the main run. So they have a main run.
You want to borrow a trap?
He's got a billion of them. And they have ones that branch off, you know, because they go looking for food. But they have one that they tunnel, it's like the highway, and then they make all these little side roads. So you find the highway, and usually it's straight. You could put a trap in there, and you should get them.
Huh. Well, if you get them, you get them. That's the thing. Like, I just didn't want to use any poison because of the whole idea of, you know, you got a dead mole, and then you have something that, like a fox that eats a dead mole. And, you know, whatever.
I have grub X too. I got to put down because they love grubs.
Yeah. Because of your dogs, if you want to use a safe grub X, Jonathan Greene does make one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That might be maybe that's a video that we can shoot in the spring.
Yeah, I didn't think about that with the dogs. So I can use that on the outside of the fence in the front yard. What I have, it's just, I think it's Scott's Grub X.
Oh, I don't even mention the word Scott's.
No, Scott's the guy that I bought it from on Facebook Marketplace. It came in a Ziploc bag.
Well, it's funny because they, you know, Scott's you see everywhere, but the thing with Jonathan Greene is like a smaller company, but they've really blown up, and it's all social media. You know, they don't do any advertising, I don't think, other than social media anymore.
It's the best advertising.
Yeah, print advertising? I think the only way print advertising works is if it's like a destination, like a vacation location. When I was in Vermont last week, I picked up one of those free magazines.
Oh yeah,
and I found that to be like, oh, that's really cool. I'll check that place out. Yep. You know, it's kind of different.
If you're like a restaurant or like a museum or whatever antique store.
Actually went to the Calvin Coolidge Museum, who's the 30th president in shoot, now I forget the name of the town, but it's not far from Killington. It's only like 20 minutes away from Killington. And pretty cool museum because it's always neat to see the some of the woodworking, some of the stuff. I was hoping that I'd see a piece of furniture that might inspire a build project. I didn't really.
Was it like the house that he grew up in turned into a museum kind of thing?
So I think, I don't know if I guess he did grow up in, I don't know if he was an older, I don't know if he was 10 or like 10 and 12 or something when they moved there, I think. But he did live there with his family, and his dad was like a pinnacle part of the town. And he ended up becoming vice president. Calvin did. And then when the president died, he became president. And he only served one term.
And what did you say? He was the 30th president?
I think he was the 30th president, yeah.
So that's what? What era is that?
I don't know.
Late 1800s?
I thought it was 1920s.
Oh, okay. Let's look.
I thought it was right around 1920s because I think it was before the Depression. Well, you look that up. I'm grabbing my coffee.
Jamie, pull it up. Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge was an American attorney and politician who served as the 30th president of the United States from 1923 to 1929. So he was in the Great Depression. So he was the president right before FDR.
Didn't the Great Depression start in 1929?
I thought 28.
Was it?
I could be wrong about that. I got to mess with the filters I have on this sound. I listened to a little bit of the podcast because I on my Apple Music or Amazon Music, which is like the music thing that I use, and I listen to podcasts on there. I follow a couple podcasts, and if I listen to like the new ones, it'll just automatically play like another one out of like the followed, and it played our podcast, and the sound is like there's some weird stuff going on. I got to mess with it.
Walter was saying that on the Working Hands podcast that they have some kind of software that the podcast goes through and all the dead air gets cut out.
Yeah, it's called Zencaster. I feel like we don't have a lot of dead air though.
I feel like we had a pretty long pause just like a few minutes ago.
Yeah. That's reality though.
Okay. I couldn't think of anything good to say, so I kept my mouth shut.
Listeners, if you don't like the pauses, deal with it. Anyway, yeah, Zencaster's good for like doing remote.
Okay.
So you can like, it's like almost like a Zoom call.
Well, with remote, you have more dead air because there's always that awkward, who's talking, especially if you have like more than two people.
Yeah. That's the thing I don't like about doing podcasts that way is like you lose all of that nonverbal, all those nonverbal cues,
I agree, but it's also nice to talk to some people and find out. There's definitely some people I'd like to talk to. And I don't know. We could figure that out someday. We'll see.
We get them up on the big screen.
Yeah, and they'd be able to see us here.
Yeah, I wonder if we get a webcam at the top.
I don't know. I've been listening to a podcast with David Spade and Dana Carvey lately. It's just funny. It's just, it's like topical, and sometimes they'll have guests from Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And I just like those guys. It's not too deep, like some podcasts. It's almost like you're working, It's like,
it's like educational.
Yeah, it's just too much. Like for this, if you just want to zone out, you can check that out.
I saw a clip from Tommy Boy this morning where he gets pulled over, and he's like, "Hey, I'm taking this prisoner." I forget what he said. Something about he was like fucking chickens or something,
Was it David Spade or was it Chris Farley?
Chris Farley's driving, David Spade's in the back seat.
That show is that's just the classic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what did he say? I forget. He was like, you were going 7 miles an hour.
The funniest thing with that show is just how that car disintegrates throughout. It's like David Spade's pride and joy. Like the first corner, all of Chris Farley's M&Ms go down through the heating vents. and David Spade's just with that dry humor is like, He's awesome. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ran into a guy in Vermont last time we were there, and he was like a water sports guy who had a business somewhere in the Caribbean doing like the safety work. So he had a couple of like jet skis and a couple of guys who worked for him. And he said he worked on a few movies. That was like his thing. He ended up selling that business and then moving to Vermont. It was kind of an interesting guy, but he said that Adam Sandler was like the greatest guy ever. So easy to know. And that David Spade's like a little jerk who was walking around and being followed by a woman holding an umbrella to keep the sun off. Oh my God. Which I don't know. I mean, maybe you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And what do you expect to happen to people when you become famous? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's a job. That's the other thing. I mean, it's easy to look at like a movie set and think, oh, that's easy, But when like from listening to this podcast with these two, you can tell that sometimes it's a real grind to be on the set for 12 or 14 hours.
Yeah.
Like Dana Carvey was talking about some kind of scene that he had to do in Wayne's World. And he's like, yeah, it was like 22 hours on the set. Like, and then I had to do like this dance routine or like this thing where I acted really excited. And he was thinking like, I can't believe the director wants me to do this, but it ended up turning out good.
Yeah. Like you have to perform, that takes a lot of, even just like shooting these videos that we do, like some days you're just not, your head's just not in it.
100%.
And it's difficult.
I totally agree with that. It's so like the project I'm going to build next, I'm building two of the same thing, and I might build one off camera just to enjoy the project.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, even though this project is kind of it's pretty rudimentary. Is
that the veneer project?
Yeah.
I won't say what it is.
Yeah. But. So there's a few things that I'll change and make different, but it's just a lot easier to build something once you've already made it.
Yeah.
And also just to have fun back in the shop, because when I'm building something, I'm usually trying to really make it an instructional video to help people when they're building it. And sometimes I really enjoy doing it. And sometimes like, oh, I just want to get these scenes over with, and get them right. And I don't really like doing voiceover. That's like a lot of work. So it's best if I can talk during the build. It just makes it easier because that way that part of the project's done and I don't have to revisit it and do voiceover.
Right.
But sometimes if I just can't figure out what to say or I just don't have it, I just build and then I have to do the voiceover.
Right.
So, which is what you'll be doing for the shoot that we're working on now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to announce that once it's all set in stone.
Yeah. I guess we can't say anything now.
Yeah. We'll probably jinx ourselves if we do. Be like, actually we're not going to do it.
Yeah. So we got a sponsor, but we won't say who that is.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah. That is exciting. And it's a sponsor. It's a product that Jeff uses.
Yeah.
So that's always the best.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be how it is going forward for a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, I love Ling Long lasers. They're just the best.
Is that what the lasers that you have? Oh, that's
just
right.
That's like the kind of company you get emails from, like, weekly.
Yeah. I sent you a thing to that knife that they,
oh yeah. I had a feeling that they had reached out to you.
Yeah. Some knife company. I thought, well, maybe I'll make a video for this knife company and make like a knife block or something. But that goes against my whole sort of note to self that I have at the top of my iPhone notes, which is always say no. Because you start saying yes to stuff and next thing you know, you're like, why did I even say yes to that?
Yeah.
And so there's no reason for me to do that. It's just going to cloud everything that I need to do. And I got to stay focused.
And they can't be that good.
No, I don't think so.
You only need 3 knives in the kitchen.
Okay. What are they?
Aside from steak knives don't count because you need however many, whatever. You need 6 or 12 of those. Chef's knife, bread knife, and a paring knife. That's it.
What is a paring knife?
Just a little, like a 3-inch.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Yeah. So what do you use a paring knife for? Like peeling an apple or something?
Yeah, or just like little BS that you're doing, you know?
Right.
I use a paring knife for like boning out chicken thighs.
Okay.
Like if I'm going to take the bone out.
How do you keep it sharp?
I just use like a crappy pull through thing, which is not good. I don't have expensive knives.
Kind of beats up the knife, those pull throughs.
Yeah.
I used the Wicked Edge knife sharpening system.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did I ever let you borrow that? Do you ever want to borrow it?
Yeah, sure.
You're going to like it.
Yeah, I've had like so that is sort of, I don't know if it's based on, but so I got into pocket knives and stuff like way back, and I always have a pocket knife. So there used to be one called what's it called? I can't remember, but it's not two-sided like that. It's single-sided, but same idea. And it was Apex Pro, it's called. I'm pretty sure. And let's see, Apex Pro knife sharpener. Yeah. And this was like the cool, super high-end knife sharpener back in the day. So it's very similar to the one that you have, except instead of having two of those little sharpening things, it's got one.
Look at the price on that. These things are not cheap.
Yeah, and this used to be more. So I've used something like that. I had like a knockoff version.
Type in the Wicked Edge. I'm just curious what it goes for.
I looked at it. I think it's like $400.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, the knives get scary sharp.
At $275.
Yeah, but that's only for two stones.
Yeah.
I think I've got something like, I think I got 6 stones. You know, you start out at like 100 and you go down to like 5,000 or something.
Oh, it's probably this one.
They've changed the design. So I did a few videos for them, and I might reach out to them again because, like I said, I'm working with this new guy on my website, and we created a page for the sponsors that I work with.
Yep.
And I just want to get all that's the one I have. Wow, $8.99. The one with the case there.
This one?
It's a little bit different than that. But it's pretty similar. But, you know, if you're into knives, it does work really good. It's a different sound.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know what that sound is.
I'm not sure. Leilani's out there doing something.
So how many days has Leilani worked for you so far?
Last week was her first full week, but so, she worked a couple days before that.
And is she 5 days a week now?
Yep.
Wow.
She's an ace. Awesome. I knew that's how it was going to be, but like, you know, just give her a list of stuff and she's just like bang, 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 knocking it out.
How awesome is that?
I got to see what that is.
Yeah, you got to see what that is. Jeff's going to investigate. I'll give you the blow by blow. All right, he's leaving the posh office.
Jigsaw.
Oh, it's a jigsaw.
I had to see it. It came to me.
You know, the funny thing is, I don't use a jigsaw that often.
Yeah, me neither. So I was cutting out, so we'll talk about this. I got some cabinets in over the weekend in my house, but I had to cut out a sink cutout on my temporary countertop. And like, you know, like when you finish the cut, the thing's going to fall out. Falls out, swings, bam, right in my shin, bust my shin all open.
Oh my gosh.
I had like a big like welt. I'm bleeding all over the place. That was the first time I used a jigsaw. I use it on site a little bit, but in the shop, almost never.
What kind of jigsaw do you have?
Festool.
All right. You like it?
Yeah, it's nice.
I just bought, when I say just bought, about 2 years ago, I bought Milwaukee just because I'm on that platform with the batteries. But I don't use a jigsaw. Jigsaw is not one of my favorite tools.
Yeah, there's not like a ton of applications for it in the shop.
Yeah, when I first started years and years ago, that was like the only saw I had. Yeah, I mean, I literally.
Was it a saber saw?
It was Skill. It was made by Skill. It was an all aluminum body, and I would do every cut with a jigsaw. And in my mind, I remember being able to cut like super straight and square. Now I pick up a jigsaw and I just feel like I can't get a nice cut with it.
I'm pretty good with it. When you get into tight corners, that's when it gets tough, you know, because you kind of got to like, it's like a bandsaw. You got to go in, back out to like get enough to be able to turn
Yeah.
Unless they have scrolling blades, which are really narrow. But I can follow a line pretty good with a jigsaw.
So when you do that, are you kind of using the pressure on the back of the blade? You do that with a bandsaw?
We don't use the bandsaw.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
When I'm cutting on the bandsaw, I use the back of the blade to guide. I think I used to do the same thing with the jigsaw.
Uh-huh.
I did a freehand cut on the table saw recently. I should have videoed it. I had to do all this little tricky molding work because when the windows got set into my place where I just put new windows, the casings that have been there for 65 years, it's not special millwork, but it's nice millwork that I wouldn't want to replace, and that would have really blown the job up.
Oh yeah.
But the casings were out of plumb. So they kept the windows plumb, but the casing was out of plumb. So I had to kind of fill like there was a space on the outside of the building where I had maybe 5/8 up top and 1 1/8 down at the bottom.
Oh, like the jam.
Yeah. And I had to make filler molding. And then I had to kind of cut it out to fit it. I had to like scribe out the bottom of it. It's one of those things, like, it looks great now because it's all done.
Right.
Very little caulk, whatever. I did take some video. Maybe that'll make like a good short. But that's where I did a little freehand on the table saw.
Didn't die.
I used to freehand on the table saw all the time, especially doing flooring work.
Oh yeah, flooring guys are the sketchiest guys on job sites.
I have to do a little flooring at some point. I think I'm going to put hardwood floors in my wife's like shed office because my mom has a whole bunch of white oak. So that should be kind of simple, though. I'm not gonna hire somebody to do it.
You're gonna rip out the mudroom floor too and redo that, right?
That's not happening. that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the LVP in my house pretty soon in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that goes. I mean, the material's not that expensive. I wonder, like, so the thing with my son, if he ends up buying a house, which probably won't be anytime soon, but I think what he'd like to do is at some point buy like a duplex so he can live in one side, offset his mortgage. And when he does that, he's sort of envisioning the first 3 months, he'll probably be fixing up one side.
Yep.
And I said, well, if it gets to that point, let me know and we can probably figure some way to work together. And I'll just produce my show from that side of your home for 3 months. And maybe we can get some free product or some, So at that point, I'd like to, reach out to like a vinyl flooring place or who knows.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple sponsors I already work with who I know are just waiting for like a bigger job like that. My house, for 2 reasons. One, I don't really like to shoot video in my house because it's just too difficult to deal with everybody who lives there. And that's really the main reason. So if he has a duplex, we can basically shut it off.
Yeah.
So that would be great though, because I'm just trying to figure out a way to help him, really all of my kids eventually get out into the world. Like, I don't know how any of these young people are buying a house today.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like your house has doubled in 3 years.
Yep.
It's crazy. Is it 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit. Yeah. 3.5, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, so that'd be a good opportunity though. And he and I were just talking about vinyl floors. And also, I mean, the houses that he's looking at aren't that big. So to put a kitchen in wouldn't be that big of a deal, especially a duplex.
Yeah.
We'll see when that time comes. It'd be nice if I can give him a hand and then eventually the other boys.
Where's he looking? Or in this area?
Well, he did. He actually looked at a house in this town.
There's a little house in Keensburg on Randolph that looked. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll see if
I think he looked at a house in Belford. He looked at a house in Highlands. I think at the same time, I think he's just looking at this moment.
Right.
But that's how you have to start. You know what I mean? Look at that. A nice lawn.
Yeah, it's probably photoshopped.
Yeah, it does look like it's $320.
But it's got, a new kitchen.
Yeah. Looks like a new vinyl floor, too.
Yeah.
It looks like, is that on? Now, where is that here? Like, how would I go past that?
Let's see. New bathroom.
Yeah.
Washer and dryer. Backyard. Look at that grass.
There. Yeah. There's no way. That grass looks real. Dude, look at the sharp line. That is definitely photoshopped in. Along the fence.
Maybe it's AstroTurf.
Yeah, I think that's a rug. Yeah.
Where's the map?
Well, I guess what everyone is saying is...
Is this it?
I guess so, 320.
It's right over by Timber.
Okay. I guess what everyone's saying, though, is that this area, all these areas along the coast, are just going to become more and more desirable.
Yeah.
And with Netflix coming into the old Army base.
Yeah, Fort Monmouth.
I think that's going to be a lot of people coming to this area.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're filming Happy Gilmore 2 right there, right smack dab between my house and your house.
I wonder why they picked that course.
I don't know, because it's not like, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it would be kind of hard to get away from the road. I mean, it's kind of a narrow course.
Right there on Portland.
It's like goes up and down a hill. You know, like it looks like I know there's a road that crosses it, but I've never played it. Have you ever played it?
No. So I went and bid some work over there recently, but
how'd that go?
I never heard back.
Okay. What are you working on next?
So it looks like we're going to be getting into this brow bar, like an eyebrow bar.
Okay, like eyebrows.
Like a big commercial. Yeah, like a place where you go to get your eyebrows like dyed different colors, and I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I go to those places.
Yeah, I guess they trim them up, and women like really dark eyebrows is like a thing.
I've been noticing that.
Yeah.
There's an actress who has really like thick, dark eyebrows. I am terrible with names, but I have been noticing that.
Yeah, it's a popular thing. So that, we got a kitchen on the horizon. Excuse me. Recovering from a chest cold. We're doing some molding for Tommy G, Manhattan Stained Glass. I'd love to get him on the podcast. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, well, why not?
Yeah, I should try and coordinate when he comes out for the to drop me off the stain. Making a little for Mike a top for an RV. All kinds of little.
You got a lot of estimates out there.
Yeah.
So I'm starting my veneer project probably tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'll be doing a lot of work on the lawn probably tonight because I'm just getting a lot of footage for Jonathan Greene. And I was working on something. Oh, I put my kitchen off. I still need to trim out the windows and do some kind of funky thing in my kitchen. But I'm trying to schedule that with my wife and having the house function. So I think September 30th. I said, okay, this is the day I have to go in. If we can't live with this through Thanksgiving because we do Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm doing Thanksgiving this year.
How many people do you have?
Let's see. It'll be us three, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should only be like 11.
Do people bring anything, or you do everything?
Yeah, they'll probably bring some stuff.
But you do the bird, you do.
Yeah.
And you don't fry the bird or anything?
No, I have smoked a turkey before.
Okay. What do you think of that?
It's pretty good.
We do. When I say we do, my wife does it. I just do what my wife says to help out. Peel potatoes, whatever she says. I'm just like, okay.
I got to blow the leaves outside.
We play volleyball on Thanksgiving morning, and where we play is an hour and 20 minutes from the house.
Oh, wow.
So I always feel like I'm kind of going to be in the doghouse on the way home, but for whatever reason, I come into the house with the 3 boys. Olivia sometimes comes with us too. And everybody's like, kind of shot out from playing volleyball. And there's my wife like running around the kitchen, like, getting ready for everybody to be there like 20 minutes after we show up from volleyball. But it's kind of like my favorite holiday because there's just the food and whatever, cleaning up after. There's the pressure of the gifts. And I don't know, even though my kids are older, they're still, I don't know, Christmas seems like brings like a lot of pressure. I don't know.
And Christmas, it's like there's always multiple locations over multiple days. It's like, oh, we got to go here on Christmas Eve. We got to go here on Christmas Day. And then it's like, we didn't see so-and-so, so now we got to,
Yeah, every year we've commuted or we've driven to Christmas Eve, and I don't think we're going to do it this year. We're just sort of like, okay, we got to take a break.
Yeah, we stay local for Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day bounces around.
You have to drive far?
So this year I'm doing Christmas Day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My sister lives in Pennington. My parents live in West Windsor. So an hour and 15 minutes.
All right.
That's not too bad.
No.
And it's west. So it's not like I'm going fighting North Jersey traffic.
If you're going north on Christmas, you're going to get hammered either coming or going.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always like exit 143 kind of area. You're going to.
The oranges.
Yeah. We didn't have any traffic. So we went up to Vermont last Monday morning, and we came home on Thursday. Stayed at a place in Killington, right on the mountain, a little Airbnb. It was only $83 a night.
Wow.
Kitchen, 1 bedroom, living room, little sitting area outside.
Is it like a little cabin almost?
No, it was like their condos. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It's like really like ski living. You know what I mean? I liked it because I could bring my bike in. I didn't want to leave my bike in the car, even though I would imagine it's pretty safe up there, but still.
I want to talk about bikes after this.
Yeah, that's the segue. So we ended up going up there, and we didn't hit any traffic. It was a breeze. And as far as mountain biking, I really would like to do some adventure riding, but it's kind of weird when you're not there for a long time and you're riding by yourself. So I was looking at maps and stuff, and I was going to do all these rides. But then I'm like, okay, I'm riding in places with no cell service. I'm riding by myself. And so what I ended up doing was just riding up the Killington Mountain. And even though I have a pedal assist bike, which you have to pedal to get assistance, so there's no throttle, it was a great workout. But I can't even imagine making it without that.
How many speeds is your bike?
I think it has 12. There's only one chainring in the front.
Yep.
And then I believe I have 7 or 8 in the back. I should know that, but I don't. But yeah, the thing worked great. Had a great time. Just kind of going out for an hour. It's one of those things like if you want to have a glass of wine or a beer, you feel it's always tastes better if you do some kind of exercise.
Oh yeah.
So my wife would do something, maybe read a book or whatever, and I'd go ride. Get back at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
She didn't bust your balls that you were out by yourself?
No, not at all. The only thing was like she's just like, don't fall and get hurt.
Yeah. I think as you, maybe my wife would disagree, but as you get further into your marriage, like you learn to appreciate, like, so you have this opportunity to just have some time
to yourself.
Right. You guys you're going together by yourselves when usually, you got your kids around, whatever, but then also being able to just spend some time by yourself at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's really happy to go on a walk. Like if we go on a walk together, a lot of times I find I have to kind of really slow down. Or she likes to just walk by herself, or she'll read, do something like that. And there's no, like, it's funny because we went away because it was our 30th wedding anniversary. And about a year or two before we got married, we went to Killington and went mountain biking, where you would take the lift up with your bicycle and ride down. And we did that. And we have all these video or pictures of us doing that. And I thought, there's no way that I'd want my wife riding down this, because it was kind of, even though like a pickup truck could make it up there, there's some areas where that pickup truck would really be bucking because the super steep washboard and loose. And if you're going down that and you're not like familiar with braking, you could easily go over the handlebars.
Yeah.
And in fact, there was this one area that the last day we were there, I ended up going on the ride around almost 6 o'clock, and I left in a t-shirt. And when I got up to the top, I was like, wow, it's pretty chilly up here. And then instead of coming back the way I went up, I saw another way, and I thought, oh, I'll check this out. And then I got into this area that
Black Diamond Trail.
I kind of got into an area where I wasn't recognizing it. And then it's like the sign came up that said no bicycles beyond this point. And I had already gone down, like committed for like a good 15 minutes downhill. So I'm like, wait a minute. It's like getting laid out. Am I going to go backtrack? Or am I
like
gonna,
a cliff.
Yeah, it was just, I was more concerned about like, where am I going to end up here? But because it's a bicycle, I know like, okay, I don't care if I end up at a road, like at the access road. It's not like skiing where you end up at an access road and you figure out how to get back. But I ended up just walking down this one area because it was so steep and like sketchy. I'm like, yeah, definitely don't want to wipe out as it's getting darker out. And so I walked down that, and then it mellowed out, and then eventually I figured out where I was. But it's always weird when you're riding by yourself in unfamiliar territory, and also you throw in the fact that it's getting dark out.
Yeah.
You know, as you get older, you're like, I don't know if I need to take all these risks.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what can happen if you just make a few poor decisions, like at the wrong time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's hear about the bike you're looking at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I only made it out on 2 bike rides last week I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I woke up feeling like hell. So I didn't go. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't go far. I actually went, instead of going Highlands, I went the opposite direction. So I just went up to like East Road the first day. And then I went up like another couple streets on Wednesday and back.
Did you track the mileage?
Yeah, I want to say it's probably about like 7 miles.
Nice.
Nothing crazy, half hour. But my bike's only 2 speeds. So it's, you got to pedal the whole way. But what I'm noticing is that, sorry for the coughs and the sniffles. My bike, no suspension, no front, obviously no rear. I have skinny tires. They're like 7/8 of an inch wide and, small. That trail, it's pavement, but there's roots going across underneath the pavement everywhere. And I'm riding in the dark. When I hit those things, it hurts. It's like painful, So
you're riding in the dark with a light.
Yeah, I have like a little headlight, little tail light. So I just want to get a bike. It's going to make me more inclined to go out. I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, this bike has been, the chain is straight rust. I've had the bike for 12 years.
So what are you looking at?
So I've been poking around. Like I'm thinking I want to get a mountain bike because my hope is that, I want to start out doing what I'm doing now and be able to go further in less time because, I'll have more gears and stuff. And then, I'd like to try going out in the woods.
It's fun being in the woods.
So a mountain bike is I don't want a road bike. I want nothing to do with riding on the street.
So scary.
I'm going to get killed.
Yeah.
And, I just think it would be cool to ride some trails. So I'm looking at mountain bikes and, I'm doing YouTube searches like best mountain bike under $1,000. And, so I've settled in like the sub 1,500 range is what I'm looking at, which is a pretty good.
You can get a lot of bike for that.
Yeah. So the consensus seems to be that in that sub 1,500 range, these Polygon bikes for mountain bikes are like the bike. All Shimano drivetrain, rock shocks, full suspension,
nice.
Rock shocks front and back. Here, I'll pull up. So I'm between, it's called the Siskiyou D7 or T7. And the D stands for down country. So,
all right. That looks like a nice bike.
Yeah, this they, I guess, consider more of like a cross country bike.
Yeah, you don't want a downhill because a downhill bike is going to be heavier and it's all going to be beefed up for just flying downhill.
Yeah, and then there's that, and then there's the Siskiyou T7, which stands for trail. So yeah, this one is it's a little heavier. It has more travel in the suspension.
Looks like a sweet bike.
So and the geometry is a little bit different. So you see the angle here.
Yep.
This one's kicked out a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's got a longer wheelbase.
What size are you going to get? A medium? I would get a medium or a small.
I'm going to go a medium because everything I'm looking at says like medium is like 5'6" to 5'10".
Okay. Because I know guys who are almost 6 feet and they'll often ride mediums.
Really?
So, and it also, some bikes are taller than others. So like Specialized seems like a taller bike.
Right.
Where Santa Cruz seems like a smaller bike. So Michael, my son Michael, I think is like 6'1" maybe. He rides, I think he likes a medium but he also likes to throw the bike around.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's different.
Do you ride 29s?
So 29 is going to get you over a log easier because it's a bigger wheel.
Right.
But on my bike.
Slower, right?
Slower.
Or wait. Or
it would be faster, I think.
Yeah.
So if you think about
I'm trying to learn, I'm getting into the weeds on stuff that I'm so far removed from mountain biking. Now I'm watching these videos. They're like, yeah, 29 or 20. I'm like, I have no clue what.
So you have 29ers or you have mullets. That could be a 27.5 in the back, 29 in the front. Some bikes are set up that way.
Yeah, so these come in 27.5 or 29.
I'd probably go with 29. Either one. Mine's a 27.5. I'm fine with it. If you think about it, a 29 wheel is going to get you over a 10-inch log. So imagine hitting a log with a 10-inch wheel. Like say you hit a 10-inch wheel with a 10-inch or a 10-inch log with a 10-inch wheel. It's just going to hit.
Right.
A 29-inch wheel and roll over that.
Right.
So roots and things like that, you'll roll over easier. The nice thing, I think a good route for you to start when you want to start to kind of get into the woods a little bit, you're going to have some hills to, like once you get going. But I would ride from your house to Hartshorn Woods and then just hit some of the downhills first. That'll eventually bring you out to like the Navesink River.
Yeah.
And you could take that out and kind of go home that way. Like the Hartshorn Road that follows the Navesink River?
Yep.
So you could ride up into Hartshorn and then you could kind of take trails down that would bring you along the river just to give you kind of a sense of what it's like without having to like do a lot of uphills in the woods right away.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so they say that the D is better for going up.
Okay.
And the T is for like more like technical stuff. But like I don't see myself, if I got to that point, that's fine. But like that's down the road.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for me, I think you just kind of go with what you.
I don't think it's really. I'm this is probably way overkill anyway. But it's got
true.
like
if you enjoy the bike, you're going to enjoy riding more.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Yeah, Shimano Dior 1x11. It's got a drop. Does yours have a dropper post? That sounded like a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm old school and I barely use it, but everybody who's younger, they use it all the time. So every time they hit a downhill, you basically sit on the seat so it goes down.
Center of gravity down.
And then you're usually going down a hill standing on the pedals. So that's what all my kids will do when I ride with them. And both of my bikes have dropper posts. But I will, I'm so old school. I kind of feel like I hold the bike with my legs, with like my inner legs.
Yeah.
So I don't really do that. I don't feel like I have the same control. And I've talked to a couple of guys who are like my age and they're like, yeah, I just don't do it. Now, at the same time, I will clip in, which means that's like you clip your shoe in just like a binding. I don't ride with clip-ins anymore, but I've thought about going back to it because you have a better connection with the bike. Even on the downhills, you'll feel like you're kind of connected to it a little bit more. The the thing that can happen with clip-ins is you can stop and not get your foot out and then fall over. But it's like, it's an intuitive thing once you get used to it.
How do they clip in and out?
It's like a ski binding almost. So there's a little nipple on the bottom of your foot that clips into a spring-loaded binding you kind of step forward and down to get in, and you kick out to the side to get out.
Probably blow out my knee trying to do that.
That's a thing. It's kind of a weird movement.
Yeah.
But right now I'm riding flats. I do have mountain bike shoes, and I like those because I have hit my foot a few times where I'm like, wow, I'm glad I got a pretty tough shoe.
Oh, yeah, on like a rock or a log. Or...
Yeah, a root or a rock. I can't say it. Especially with the pedal assist bike, because you're pedaling all the time. So like I said, with the pedal assist, you don't have a throttle. So you want to pedal. Like you're inclined to pedal even when you think it's going to be sketchy, which means you might have a pedal strike. And that's the only time I've ever wiped out, is where I'm going around a corner and I kind of get greedy because I want to keep going faster. And I pedal down when I should just kind of keep the pedals even. And that pedal,
into the ground.
And that pedal hits like a root or something high, and that'll just send you to the ground. Like the 2 times I've fallen pretty hard were both pedal strikes. One I literally went right on my head. Like I was like, thank God I had my helmet on.
Did you replace your helmet?
It wasn't so bad.
Yeah. It was crazy. Well, it wasn't so bad.
I did get hurt though. I was like, holy cow, my knee hurts. It was one of those falls where you're sort of like, you kind of bend your fingers and twist your ankles around. And you kind of go through the stretching motions and be like, am I screwed up now or am I okay?
Right.
And I was like,
am I just in shock or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main difference is like the shocks. You have 120 millimeter on the D versus 150 and 140 on the T. But like, come on, I'm not taking this thing off of freaking jumps.
So what's the price difference? You might want the 150 travel.
$100.
I would do the 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
But it's heavier too. That's
how much heavier?
And this has different tires. They conveniently don't list well, maybe they do.
So you're going to have this shipped to you, then you're going to assemble it?
Yeah. I looked at like Highlander on their website of like the bikes that they had over there. They have like one bike that's under, all their bikes are like $5,000.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I looked at the Peddler too, down in Long Branch. Same thing. They only have a couple brands.
Canyon is a pretty popular brand that's like direct to consumer now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of direct to consumer bicycles.
I think these are like about 34 pounds.
Yeah, that's about right.
And you start talking about weight and it's like backpacking where the difference between 34.2 and 34.8, people are like, this thing's a boat anchor. It's half a pound.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see. I mean, I think you get into it and you see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, my bike now is steel.
But, this is aluminum, I guess.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Sell your old bike?
I don't think it's worth anything.
You might be able to sell it.
Maybe.
You could have sold it during the height of COVID, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a bike back then. Holy cow.
Somebody might buy it.
It's better than just sitting in your garage and taking up space.
Yeah, even if I just give it away. I'm not going to keep it, that's for sure.
Put some oil in the chain and sell it for $50.
Yeah.
I mean, all that
still works fine. I mean,
there's a lot of people who might like that bike. And
I'll just leave it outside. It'll be gone.
Oh, it'll be
10
gone.
minutes.
That's for sure.
I don't even have to put a free sign on it.
So what else is going on?
Oh, no, 200. Wait. Yeah, $100. Yeah, so I alluded to it before. Friday, I took the van home, loaded up with cabinets, and my plan was Saturday to get into setting, all or most of the remaining cabinets. But like I said, Friday I woke up feeling like shit. Saturday I felt even worse. So I kind of like laid around until about noon. And then I said, well, I better get up and do something. Otherwise I'm just going to feel worse. So I was just going to bring the cabinets in. So I pulled the van up, back it up to my steps, and start bringing the cabinets in. And I have those two blind corner cabinets. And like, so if you're looking at the sink, those go to the left and they take up the whole wall. So in order to get those in, because they're wall to wall, I had to move my temporary sink base. When I did that, the plumbing like fell apart. The tailpiece fell out of the sink. It just disintegrated.
Was the water off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the supply line, nothing happened to the supply, but the drain, the drain completely fell apart. I was having issues with the tailpiece from the very beginning, and it was like just barely hanging on and not leaking. So I was like, oh God. I was like, I have no choice but it's either try and put this thing back together or set the sink base. So I got into it. I didn't want to. I was super grumpy, felt horrible.
Was anybody home?
Oh yeah. Yeah, everybody. And I'm like huffing, like I'm like having not a hard time breathing, but like, I'm getting out of breath because I'm all congested and I'm sweating. So I got the sink base set. I got the sink in. I got the next cabinet and then the dishwasher between. All of it, the plumbing, everything. Got it all. I worked until about 6:30.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to get that done. Was your wife like bringing you drinks and food and stuff?
Not really. Not really. She knows to kind of just like keep her distance. You know, don't offer me any help. I don't, if it sounds like shit's going down in there, just stay out.
Yeah, smart.
Don't say, "Can I help you with anything?" Because the answer is definitely no. It's like if I needed help, I would ask.
Yeah, maybe like bringing a cabinet in or something.
Yeah, she helped me with that.
That's good.
And
it's amazing, a second pair of hands. Well, pretty soon Hunter will be big enough to give you a hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It won't be long.
No, time flies. So we ran our first load of dishes in a dishwasher in 11 years.
Wow.
We haven't had a dishwasher since 2013.
So what do you have on the countertops now?
Just 3/4 pre-fin with edge banding. Yeah.
Nice. So you got the bottom cabinet set.
Yeah, I have to set those two blind corners. They're just sitting there, and the spice cabinet, but I have to pull the floor up. So I also had to do that. I had to pull up a section of the floor because I have, there's hardwood. It's either longleaf pine or it's Doug fir or something. That's
what it all was back then.
Yeah. And then there's tile, it's probably asbestos tile.
Yeah.
Then linoleum, then Luan, then linoleum on top of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I had to rip that up. I just ripped up a section so that I could get those cabinets.
Did you cut it with a circular saw first?
Yep.
And
then there's a billion staples.
Did you wear a mask?
No.
Did you run a fan?
I had the vacuum on, just like near it.
It's amazing when
I've worked with so much asbestos. It's like,
yeah, I'm afraid to say that I kind of did too. We did a demolition that I don't know if it was asbestos. We had to wait for a while for them to test it, and it kind of was like, I don't know. It seemed like it was putting the job on hold too long, and then we ended up just like ripping everything. But we all had those paper masks.
Yeah, it's it's bad. It's definitely bad.
Yeah,
but I think silica is just as bad, and nobody gets in a tiff about that. You know what I mean?
And that's what's on your sandpaper.
Well, that's like if you're cutting concrete or stone or
Yeah, I think all dust is bad. I mean, I wear a dust mask in my shop all the time. So I have the pink cartridge one, and if I can't find that, if I've left it somewhere, because I even wear the pink cartridge mask when I cut the lawn, because if you see the dust that's in the air, and plus just because I'm sensitive to it, I'm just always wearing a mask, but I'll either wear the one with the pink filters, and if I can't find that, I'll wear a respirator, which is overkill because that's got a cotton pre-filter, then it's got the charcoal fill, which
like the one that I wear for painting.
Yeah, I'll just wear it. It's better than nothing. But I'll get comments like, "What are you wearing a mask for?" I'm like, it's hard to believe you'd even ask that. Wear a mask because there's no such thing as good dust.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't wear one probably as often as I should. I mean, we have pretty good dust collection.
Yeah, and you've got a bigger shop. Like my shop
gets filled up.
It gets filled up. And I do have a pretty good exhaust fan that I'll clear the place out with. But I run the air cleaner, and I also run the dust collection for the table saw. The table saw is the biggest one. I mean, obviously sanding, but sanding I'm usually hooked up to a vacuum, running the air filter, and I have a mask on. Occasionally I'll make a few rips without a mask, but very, very rarely.
Yeah, and the zero clearance does cut down on the dust collection, unfortunately.
It cuts down on the dust collection?
Yeah, it makes the dust collection worse.
Oh, yeah, the zero clearance. Okay.
Because the blade is pushing the dust up.
Yeah,
it's harder for it to get sucked back in.
I guess that makes sense, yeah. I know a lot of guys will use the overarm guard with the dust collection. I've always found that to be kind of in the way.
Oh, yeah. On a slider, I feel it's super sketchy.
I'd like to be able to see the blade. I like to be able to see exactly what's going on. And I mean, I have the attachment, but I've never done that. Now, I did put a table saw. I put the saw stop job site saw in the shop, and Walter left his vacuum. He didn't bring his vacuum over to his shop. And I plugged that right into the Festool vacuum and have that. So when you turn on the saw stop, it turns on the vacuum.
Yep.
That's nice.
Is that in the garage?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm set up with a little shop there. I kind of broke it down a little bit. Like I still have a miter saw in there and a table saw, but I broke it down to kind of set my shop up again to build these pieces of furniture, to build these veneer projects that I'm hoping to start tomorrow and have wrapped up by next Friday, posting the video a week from Sunday. If, sometimes, like you just lose a day, and once you lose a day,
happens to me all the time. I lose about one a week.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
I end up getting a lot done on the weekends. Like, cause my kids are older now. Like you probably have to do stuff with Hunter and Allie on the weekends.
Soccer every Saturday.
Yeah. So I would get a lot done on Sundays, but I started going to church with my wife about 6 months ago. And I know that she really likes that. And I actually really like the congregation. Really nice people. And, but it's a bite of time because we're gone for almost 2 hours. By the time you drive there, whatever, get a cup of coffee. I've kind of made peace with myself because I used to get a ton done on Sunday mornings. And I just liked Sunday morning because I like the fact that nobody was, my wife wasn't home. And so I was out in the shop. I didn't have any pressure, like I had to be anywhere or whatever. So I was just out in the shop. And then when I get back, I kind of feel like, well, it's 1:00. I should really maybe not be doing shop stuff.
Yeah.
So I lose that. Now what I do though, so I can sit still in church is I ride at 6:30, 7:00 in the morning, try to work out. Are you going to get into working out too now that you're bike riding?
Maybe.
I can't get over.
I did get the gym sort of cleared out in the basement because, I have all this kitchen shit down there.
So what do you have for a gym? Like what do you got? Some dead weights?
I have a rack. Yeah. I have a squat rack with a bench press bench.
You wouldn't do squats though with your knees, would you?
Maybe lightweight. I mean, that was my thing back in the day were squats.
You like doing squats?
Yeah. I was always a leg guy. I never had a lot of upper body strength. I was I maxed out 225 on bench, but I could squat 400 pounds.
225 is a lot though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. I mean, I don't know if I could do 225. I don't think I could do 225 now.
It kills my shoulders.
I'm really fortunate that I don't have a shoulder problem. I got into this thing about 3 or 4 years ago where I was just going crazy with not pull-ups, but chin-ups. So
is that this way?
The other way.
This way.
Yeah, the other way with your
Biceps.
fingernails. Yeah, with your fingernails facing you. So that's like a bicep workout. I ended up injuring the inside of my elbow. It wasn't an injury that kept me from doing anything, but I just couldn't do pull-ups. I couldn't do curls. Certain things when I was picking something up, I'd almost fail. I'm picking up a bunch of boards with clamps on it and kind of having to do that curl motion.
Yeah.
It would almost fail and I'd almost drop something.
Jeez.
So I stopped doing that. But then I got back into doing pull-ups and now I do those bar workout. And what made all the difference is I went down to the Highlander and bought grip tape that you put on a road bike.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's like $50. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
It's some freaking hockey tape.
I get to the counter and it's like, oh, it's $47.95. And at this point, I'm like already committed. So I'm like, oh, here you go. But
yeah, that's exactly what I was expecting.
But since I put that on the pull-up bar and
must
the
be
dip
on
bars,
sale.
Yeah, it feels so nice. It's got kind of like a sponge to it.
Is it kind of like a golf club? Like, like those old school golf clubs, how they had that like perforated like leather.
It's like that. It reminds me of a tennis racket.
Yeah.
But it's like, look at the calluses on my hands here. It's amazing the difference it makes. And like now I'm doing these pull-ups and dips, and I bring out these parallel bars to do push-ups. The difference in how I feel. And it's only like 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Like I could never go to the gym for an hour. I don't know how I feel like when I'm working out, time stands still.
Yeah. Like when I was playing football, our workouts were like hours long.
Was it a lot of socializing, or were you just killing yourself for an hour?
It was a lot of working out. Yeah. Because we had like a workout plan that we had to hit all these different.
You must have been in great shape. You're also young.
I don't know. Maybe.
I can't get over like.
I was strong, definitely. Yeah. In good shape. I don't know about that.
Were you partying back then?
Well, this is like high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I weighed like 275 pounds.
275 pounds?
Yeah.
You must have been all muscle.
No, I was pretty fat.
Really? What was your position?
I played center.
Oh, wow. You must have played a lot too, man.
I was second string, but basically the first string guy went both ways. So by the second quarter, I was usually in because they needed him on defense. They needed his 100% on defense.
Wow. It must have been great though.
Yeah, it was all right. I don't look back at it with like these I played football from 5 to 18, but I don't really look back at it with this like fond.
I never really played any team sports. And I never was really competitive in any kind of sport until I started mountain biking like 2 years after high school. Then I started doing mountain bike races, road races, a few triathlons. And mountain bike racing was always the most painful thing. Compared to triathlons, road races, mountain bike racing was the most painful physical thing ever. Just because everybody comes out of the starting line just full on. And you'd kind of get to know yourself, and then eventually you could kind of suck people up on the hills. So you'd kind of start at a big, wide area, and you'd funnel down into something that was like, 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
And then eventually it would get to something that was like single track. And these would be, it might be like an 18-mile race, like a 3-mile or 3 loops of a 6-mile loop, 3 laps on a 6-mile loop. And
how long does that take? An hour?
It would take somewhere like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
And the first lap was always super painful. And a lot of times we would do a ride. I rode with this guy, Joe. We had this I had a 1970 Oldsmobile that I put a pair of lumber racks on it, and then I put some bicycle hubs.
So you could.
Yeah, and that's what was the bike rack. It was like right out of that movie, Breaking Away. And eventually the transmission went on that car, and Joe was like this amazing mechanic, and I gave him the car for like bicycle or something like that, and then he drove to all the races. But this was like maybe a 3-year span. We got to a point where we would finish like in the top 5.
Wow.
And we would be riding together, and it was cool. Like, he would usually beat me by like 1 or 2 places, but it was pretty cool to be that competitive and also be that disciplined on exercising.
Yeah.
And that was a small window in my life. And then eventually I got engaged, and then sort of like I stopped biking almost altogether. I think I bought a brand new bike, did 1 or 2 races with it. Next thing you know, I'm engaged, and I'm like hardly ever riding.
Yeah. So what are the trails? Are there trails in Huber also?
Yeah.
What are the trails like? Are they, there's got to be pretty simple
Yeah, I mean, I could take you on a ride and take you on some of the really simpler stuff. You could just go on the fire roads. It's like it might be good for you to just go on your own, just because you kind of go at your own pace and be like, And it might be nice to go hike the trails too.
Yeah.
Like you could, any kind of single track steep thing with roots is going to seem a little like daunting first, but then once you get to, you get to realize like, oh, it's not crazy.
What are what time are people out there? Like if I go early, it's going to be pretty dead.
Yeah, that's the best time to go.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want to be home by 9:00.
Yeah, that's the best time to go. I mean, I want
to be home before. I want to be home by 8:00 or before.
Well, that's the thing. Like, let's say like you get a schedule and this becomes part of like your life program. You could set it up where you ride 2 days a week and maybe once on the weekend. And because you get up so early, you could leave your house at like 6 a.m. and be back by 7:30 with a great workout. And you may end up like in that hour and a half, you may go further. When you first start riding, you may only go 10 miles.
Yeah.
And then within like a couple of months of riding, you might be adding, another mile to your loop here, another mile to your loop here. But it's not huge. You'll get to know every bit of those trails by the back of your hand.
Yep.
I mean, you can't get lost. Any way you go, you're going to end up either at the river or Route 36 or, one of the other things.
Yeah.
It's not like North Jersey or upstate New York where you could get lost.
Right.
And be like gone, like lost and not find your way out. It's still light out.
Yeah. You need like a GPS.
I still see people sometimes in the woods who are like, I don't know where I am. And
just keep going.
Yeah. It's usually what I say. I'm like, well, I always use the sun as a point of reference. I'm like, especially in the wintertime, I'm like, okay, there's the sun. So you know that's south. So you just want to like keep the sun on the side of your left face and keep walking straight. And I'll tell them to like, do that.
So do you ride all through the winter?
I do. As long as it doesn't get
super deep snow.
Yes, as long as it's not super deep snow or super muddy or whatever. And if I don't ride, then I'll hike and like vigorously hike. I hate running, but I'll you can kind of, if you're on a vigorous hike, you could kind of like change it up with a little bit.
Jog a little bit.
Just jog a little bit, maybe run a hill or two. And I just do what my body sort of says, okay, I'm pushing now and I feel good, and push a little bit beyond that comfort zone and then kind of recover.
Yeah.
Then push again. And even when I'm riding the pedal assist bike, there's a couple of hills that are on the road that I do where I try to keep the mile. I try to go at a certain mile an hour. And by the time I get to that hill, I'm like completely gassed. But, you do that to just keep, building your endurance.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. Like people think, oh, an electric bike, that's not going to, how do you get a workout with that? And for me, the fun factor has made it like I'm in better shape than I've been in 10 years because I just want to be in good shape to ride this bike.
Yeah.
And the technology on these bikes goes through the roof. So, a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like I don't even know what I like doing anymore. Now that I'm doing this bike, I'm like, okay, 2 years from now, I want to get this bike.
Right.
And it's not that expensive because once you buy the bike, it's not like you have to pay for greens fees or ski lift ticket and you just ride.
Yeah. So they make a
pedal assist right there.
Yeah. But this is, I'm not willing to drop that at this point.
Not too far from where you're at.
Just about double.
If you're going to spend $1,500, you might as well spend $37.
Yeah. They look like nice bikes though. They have a really good reputation online.
Yeah. Now I think I've seen that bike. Yeah. I don't know. Man, you would ride that. You would be addicted to that. You could probably find that money somewhere. You got some stuff you can sell.
I'm already on that. That tear right now.
I know. I'm sure there's a couple of things you can sell.
Anybody looking for a saw stop, 3 horsepower industrial?
You don't really want to sell that though.
No.
You can't. You still need a table saw, even though you got the Stree big.
Oh yeah, no.
You could put the You could sell the industrial saw and put the
and then I'll just put the
job site saw in the shop. Yeah, it's bicycle or table saw. You know, you gotta have your priorities
get Harvey
straight.
to send me a table saw.
Yeah, there you go. Get Harvey to send you a table saw. Dude, that bike actually looks really sweet. Now I know that I mentioned it last time, but
they have some nice hardtail ones too. I don't know.
Well, the thing with the hardtail, I think like a bike I would really like would be a fat tire hardtail with front suspension. So you got the fat tire, because I'm not going to do any jumps, but the fat tire you can take out in the snow. So like if you get a 4.5-inch tire, you know, you get a good packed snow, you can take that out.
Right.
I don't think Poland, how do you say it again?
Polygon.
I don't think they make a fat tire pedal assist mountain bike.
I don't think so, but you can get like a carbon frame.
Yeah.
Hardtail for the same price as.
How much? What's the weight on that?
Let's see.
26 pounds.
That's pretty light.
Yeah, it is light. That's super light. Wow. Now, I mentioned that DJI has a pedal assist bike that everybody's like raving about because it's more powerful than anything.
That's crazy to think that DJI is making bikes.
I mean, if you watch a video on it, you should check out NBN EMTB News. And it's... no, it's not even...
Avinox?
That's the motor.
Okay. Yeah. Are they making the bike too or just the motor?
They're making the bike too.
Oh, wow.
But remember, the bike is the frame. So they're making the frame, but they've got all the components.
Right.
Like Fox. Yeah. Is it the Amflow? The bike is just like... So some people are suspect because they're like, it's too new. It's going to have problems, you know, but I don't know.
What do you think about the hardtail versus full suspension? I feel like I don't need full suspension.
So I was going to say, do you want to borrow my Cannondale, which has a 3-inch tire and front suspension, and see what you think? It's a medium. You want to just check it out? Take it for a couple rides?
Yeah, why not?
So what I'll do is next time I come here, or you can pick it up and just pick it up. Just drop by because you might want it this week once you get over your cold.
Yeah.
See what you think of that. It's got a 3-inch tire, so the 3-inch tire also acts like suspension.
It's a little bit bigger, yeah.
I like that. It seems like people are getting away from the fat tire. Even my bike has a 2.8-inch tire, and people consider that like a plus size.
Yeah, I think these are all 2.5, the ones that I was looking at.
That makes sense. The other bike that I have has a 2.6. And I can tell the difference. I like having the bigger tire. Again, I'm not a super aggressive rider. And they're saying like some of the super aggressive riders will say that you could potentially roll a tire. You know what I mean? The fatter the tire, you're going to roll it off the rim. I mean, you'd have to be
doing some crazy switchback.
Yeah, you'd have to be doing some crazy stuff. And like I've said it before, I just keep the bike on the ground. It's too much fun to risk getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I think you start riding. The thing is in life, you can't just work. You know, if you can't just work all the time, you get too burnt out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm also 20 years older than you. And I think I said it, you know, the older you get, the end looks closer and closer because it is. So you start thinking, okay, what do I want to do? And how do I feel better? You know, especially if you have any ailments, you know, like people are dealing with whatever it is. Like for me, it's my asthma. So like I'm always thinking like, what can I do to breathe better? You know, so it seems counterintuitive, but exercising and working out just seems to be able to makes me breathe better.
Yeah, because your lungs learn how to bring in more oxygen.
Yeah, it's no pain, no gain. And the allergist that I go to, like I'll go there. I go very rarely, and I see people in the waiting room, and they're like. They look like they're dying, but they also don't look like they're working to stay in shape.
Yep.
And so my doctor's always like, I can't believe you're doing all this stuff. Like, well, why not? You know?
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's cool. We'll have to go on a ride.
Yeah.
I still think you ought to. I like the pedal assist. I know that, you know, a couple more bucks, but I think you'll ride it.
Yeah. I mean, I felt pretty good on the 2-speed. So just going up to like a 11 or 12 speed.
So I think that's good. Do that. Because the other argument is, like, you're going to get a faster workout. You're going to get a better workout in less time on a regular bicycle.
Yeah.
So, like, the only reason why I'm getting a good workout on the bike I'm riding is because I'm riding probably for twice as long, and I'm just going really fast. So that's the fun factor that keeps me going.
Yeah. Like for me, ideally, I'm in like the 30 to 45 minute range. That's it.
Yeah. So what you may end up doing.
That's for like if I'm doing it as a workout. Yeah. Not to say I wouldn't go, say on a Saturday morning, go for an hour or 2 hours.
Well, you'll do those 40-minute rides 2 or 3 times during the week. So you feel good for the hour and a half adventure ride that you do on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what makes it fun. If you're not in shape, the rides aren't that much fun. That's going to make it. That's going to make your Saturday
work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to make your Saturday ride really nice. And as your kid gets older, you'll be able to ride with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Now the hardtail versus full suspension things. Now I'm thinking about that.
Do you save? Is it just the saving of the money, or because of the bike's light? That's a nice looking. I think you have better suspension on that bike too, on the front.
As a Fox, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so basically full suspension is just for like going off of stuff, isn't it?
No, it sucks up the roots and everything as you're going down hills, and it flattens the trail out. So as you're riding, it just sort of flattens everything out, kind of. Instead of the back end kind of kicking up and out to the side, it sucks it up, just like your car sucks up.
Yeah, yeah.
Sucks up the suspension.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like Monday night, Tuesday morning, because Monday was the first day I rode. My ass was killing.
Well, that's another thing. Your ass is going to hurt for like the first 2 weeks, and something happens because I got a tiny little seat on my bike.
Yeah, my saddle is just like there's like maybe like a 16th inch of some kind of foam.
Something happens. Well, first of all, I got bike shorts with padding in them.
I bought a pair.
Yeah, you need that. But something also happens that you just get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. I remember from back when I was doing that 14-mile ride every morning. Just like after a while, you just get used to it.
Yeah, and the hardest thing for you, I think, will be in the wintertime is not having a hill close by, because that's like a trick. You can get warm, you might go out your door and be like, holy cow, it's freezing cold out here. But if you hit a hill, you can warm up in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's even your digits will kind of warm up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got Portland Road right there.
Oh, that's right. You could do that.
Yeah.
So
I could probably ride right through the golf course.
You can, and that way you're avoiding traffic.
Yeah.
You could go. The only problem is you do have you could go right up past my house and then get into the woods there. You could ride right to Huber Woods, even on the dirt road. Another nice loop for you would be to go down Whippoorwill and just to avoid traffic. But that might be a way to go. The only problem is the Portland eventually you have to kick out onto after you go through the golf course.
Yep.
That's a busy road.
Yeah. Yeah, but doesn't it come out like right there by Kings Highway?
So you cross Kings Highway by Dogs on the Farm, wherever that place is. You would cross Kings Highway and then kick out over by
your house.
Over by my house. But what you could do is you could just go straight down Whippoorwill and then go up Chapel Hill and then take that left, I forget what it is, and then take Cooper up the dirt road past my house.
Yeah, yeah.
And now that's a good way to get some real hill work.
Yeah, no crazy, I'm not going over roots.
No, you're just on dirt roads.
Yeah. And that's like my idea is like, I'm going to work my way up to.
If you did that ride, like that's a good winter ride, because then halfway up Portland or halfway up cutting through the golf course, you'll be warm. Because that's the worst thing is when you're freezing cold on a bicycle. And that's what's going to happen if you go down to the water. Like if you ride the path and you're going along the Sandy Hook Bay.
Oh, God, that wind is brutal.
Yeah. And so that's why I ride all through the winter, because I'm in the woods. There's no wind. And so I'll ride my bike. I'll turn all the power off and I'll ride just the normal bike until my body's warm.
Yep.
And then I'll, usually ride in eco for a while, and I'll play around with the settings depending on how I feel. That's the other thing. I think that the pedal assist bike is sort of analogous to lifting weights with somebody, because you can, if you find yourself getting into trouble, you can up the assist.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's a way of you could.
Yeah, they can make it halfway up a hill and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and there's hills that I know that I'll just like punch it up right before I'm like, okay, I want to fly up this hill. And so I'll punch it up, but I'm still gassed by the time I get to it, because
otherwise you wouldn't make it. Yeah.
You still have to be pedaling. And because you're in the woods, you have to be doing a lot of maneuvering with the handlebars and popping the wheelie over roots. And it's not like you're not just along for the ride. You gotta be heavily involved in it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right. Well, I think we got a visitor showing up in about 10 minutes.
We do. That'll be good to see him. You want to say who it is or no?
Yeah. Chris from LaMelo Colonial Saw. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him.
I saw him down in Atlanta in August.
Yeah, it's we're gonna be playing around with the biscuit joiner.
Yeah, the Classic X something. I forget what they call it.
And we'll be shooting a video on that. We didn't get to any of the videos, but we'll be shooting a video on that probably next week.
Yep.
Kind of a really full tutorial. And we just posted a video that's coming out, or just shot a video that's coming out tomorrow on the
Conformat screw.
Yeah, Conformat screws. I can never remember the name of that. I think that should be a good video. And that's it on my end.
Yeah. Well, appreciate everybody listening. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Be good, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend or share it on social media. You can leave a review of this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, today's Craftsman YouTube channel has an upload every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week.